Okay, students, so here we are. We're at the tuning screen. I had some issues switching back and forth between SmartMusic and the tuner. So I'm going to just start on the tuner at this point because it seems like it's working even though Screencastify is working and recording me as well. Um, so just let me kick back over here to ShoeFly real quick. Remember to click on this tuning fork to access the tuner. Okay, it's going to pop up a different window here and you're going to see it. Hopefully that didn't make this stop. No, good, excellent. So I'm going to show you how to tune your instrument here in the SmartMusic Tuner app. Notice I am using the flute again. The concepts are going to be the same no matter the instrument you use, whether it's flute, clarinet, saxophone, alto sax, trumpet, trombone. All the concepts are going to be the same, okay, whether you're sharp or flat and how to fix that. So if you're flat, just a quick review because we did this last week if you tuned in. If you're flat, your dial, your gauge here, your needle is going to be toward the left, okay, if you're flat. If you're sharp, meaning that, your B flat, C, or G, whatever your tuning note is higher than it's supposed to, that's sharp, then your needle, your gauge is going to be over here to the right. So that means instead of being at like da, it might be like da, might be up a little bit. And you can see kind of the gauge moving there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my flute head joint all the way down. That would be the same as like the clarinet mouthpiece being all the way in, the trumpet tuning slide at the end all the way back, the trombone, remember the hook in the back of your trombone, that slide being all the way down, and then the saxophone mouthpiece being pretty far down the cork of your neck. I don't think I left any instruments out. Oboe, you're going to have to adjust your reed as it's attached to the cork on your instrument. And then part of it is also your embouchure and keeping a steady embouchure so the needle isn't fluctuating like this. So I'm going to show you, this is my tuning notes can be a B flat, and for flute, it's not going to have a transpose, so it's not going to change. But remember, let's say you play clarinet. Let's do this as an experiment. Let's go down to clarinet, and I'm going to play my flute, my B flat flute, but notice for transposed, for clarinet, it should say C over here if I'm in tune. But I'm going to show you how that goes. So remember, even though yours might show up as clarinet, B flat clarinet, you want to drop this menu down. Remember, there was that little glitch or a bug in this that wasn't showing up the transposed pitch. In transposed pitch, I mean like clarinets, our B flat major scale is your C to C. Same with trumpets. Saxophone, B flat major scale for you is G to G. Now, if you don't play those instruments, don't worry about that because it's going to be very confusing if you're trying to follow. But if you play those instruments, you know what I'm talking about. Your concert B flat major scale, if you're a clarinet or a trumpet, is C to C. So here, my B flat will say concert pitch here, but if I'm playing B flat clarinet, it should say C in the transpose place here. So I'm going to play my flute, and let's see if it transposes it for me. Okay, so I'm a B natural and a very flat B natural. So that means I'm sharp because I should be B flat, and B flat is lower on the spectrum than B. So I'm going to take my head joint here, and I want to pull it out a little bit. Notice, see on the camera, some of that unfinished part is showing. That's okay. Just make sure you're realigned. Your tone hole is lined up with the keys again. We're going to try this again. There we go. Almost smack dab in the middle. If I was a better flautist, I could have kept that right in the green zone. But notice up here in the transposed, it showed C. Let me show that one more time. Remember, this is for clarinets and trumpets. Okay, so that way you know you're in tune. Okay, I'm going to show you the same thing for E flat alto sax. Now, if my B flat, because I haven't changed, is still in tune, this should show G for alto sax. There we go. Another thing, before you play, before you tune, you should warm up a little, and not just on your head joint or buzzing, but you should play your instrument a little bit. Also, what you should do is blow some warm air in your instrument. That's going to warm up your instrument. A cold instrument is going to naturally be out of tune. But if we blow warm air into it, you're going to warm up that instrument. It's going to be more apt to be in tune. So there it is, B flat. And as you see, if I was playing alto sax, that would be the G transposition. So now I'm going to bring that back up to flute, because a flute and an oboe, those are naturally keyed in C. My B flat is going to be B flat. So there's going to be 0 transposed here. Right, there we go. And I probably could, I could push in a little bit since I seem a little bit sharp. Actually, I would pull out, pardon me. So here's the rule. If you are over here, you're going to want to pull your instrument out. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, well, for your flute, that's going to be the head joint. You're going to want to back it up. So there we go. You can see that unfinished part that's usually in this barrel area of your flute, or the segment area. You pull that out, because if you're sharp, you're elongating the instrument, making it longer to drop that pitch down. Okay, this is pretty obvious on a trumpet. I'm going to grab one really quick, and I'm going to play for you, and I'm going to pull this tuning slide out, and you're going to hear that note go down. Okay, let me grab one real quick. All right, so here I have the trumpet in my hand, and right on the end here is the tuning slide. So that, you want to make sure this is greased. So if you haven't greased this in a while, you'll probably want to add some grease to this, some slide grease. Very good to keep this lubricated and moving. So I'm going to keep this here. I'm going to hold the trumpet up. I'm going to play. See if we come up with a C in our transpose. And I should probably bring it back to B flat trumpet for my trumpet players. There we go. All right. All right, so that's kind of nice. Actually, I didn't have to move anything at all with my tuning slide. However, this instrument's a little cold. It's not freezing. It's been sitting in the band room, but it's been sitting. It hasn't been played. So I'm going to blow some warm air in. I'm going to warm that instrument up. Now let's see what that does to the tuning. All right, so it's a little sharp now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this tuning slide here. I'm going to pull this out a little bit. Let's see how that is. It's about a fingernail's width, maybe a little bit big, larger than a fingernail's width for my students. But let me see how that sounds. All right, pretty comfortable. I was pretty comfortable with my embouchure. I didn't have to tighten up or loosen up too much. Again, I'm going to bring this maybe back in a little bit because I was a little flat. So I'm going to bring this in. When you're flat, you want to compress the length of your instrument via your tuning slide or your mouthpiece if you're a woodwind player. Let's try this again. There it is. Now I did have to adjust my embouchure. I went in a little shaky. But if I was a trumpet player like Mr. Kluge, I would probably be able to nail that dead center in the green, because he has been playing trumpet for so long. He knows exactly how his embouchure feels, where it's supposed to be, and then if it's even a little bit off, he can kind of adjust a little bit to get it perfectly where it's supposed to be. So just mess around with tuning a little bit. Know that it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be in this yellow area, as we talked about last week. If you're in the red and very deep in the red, or a totally different note, you're going to want to adjust your tuning. Remember that if you're down here, you are flat. If this says, or transposed, it says C, and you're down here, you're flat. So you're going to have to push in if you pulled out too far. Um, so there's that. So that should help you with tuning. Any issues, feel free to email me and I'll be happy to help you out. But this was that tuning segment I wanted to talk about in SmartMusic that I had to delete because for a whole segment of tuning, it didn't show the tuning gauge, so it was kind of useless. So I had to cut that part out. But hopefully this helps. Remember, for woodwind players, for your clarinet, you're going to have to pull up your mouthpiece a little bit if you are sharp. So that is in this range. That's the positive range. Notice the sharp is down here too, as well as the flat to kind of give you a little hint into where you are. Remember, for saxophones, back off your mouthpiece, off the cork a little bit until you hit that transposed G right in the middle. And before we go, a couple things. Let's go over this real quick. So as you go in, make sure this microphone is on. Very important. Make sure that your instrument is chosen, but not only chosen. So for trumpet, I want to double check it. Remember the bug we talked about. So we want to see the transposed note that I'm used to seeing right here. Okay. And then if you are sharp in this area, you're going to want to pull out. So remember, for trombones, that's that little hook in the back. You want to pull up and, maybe start off with like a little bit like I did on trumpet, where it's just a little, like maybe a little nails width apart or out from the instrument. And then the same thing with the flute, and then from there, you can micro adjust a little bit in, a little bit out, until you get it just right. And then that if you hit the notes correctly, you're not going to have any issues in SmartMusic grading you incorrectly at all. All right, so this has been Intro to Tuning, or a review for some of you if you were here last week. And hopefully you have fun with this, and it's easier than I made it seem. All right, so take care, and can't wait to hear those submissions. Really looking to hear Shoe Fly from everyone, recorded from the safety of your own home. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Later.